I am here with Gaia today because a couple of people have asked me regarding doing a pattern for this little hat. So I've decided to do it. So here is Gaia in that little hat. Now it is designed, obviously, she's a smart doll, but this size also does fit my pull-ups. So if you've got a doll around that sort of head size, it probably fits a lot of the dolphies as well, of around those proportions. This is what I'm going to do. So we're going to pop Gaia to one side and we're going to get on with this little hat. It is quite a simple little hat. I'm just going to pull my papers over so they're a little bit closer. There we go. And I've got my pen ready, and as you can see on the table I have an example of the hats that I have done in other colours, so it does work out quite nicely. The nice simple design, just trebles and double crochets, UK terms, remember, so it is a nice little hat to make. You can also add detail to it as well if you wanted to. So we'll keep the pink one out because it's the pink that we're going to be doing today. 3.5mm crochet hook, my usual needles, little stitch marker, which you don't really need till you get down to the bottom, my scissors, and of course the yarn. Now the yarn I'm using is Peyton's 100% cotton. I've mentioned before it's one of my favourite yarns to work with. I love the mercerization of it, the shine. I think it's just really pretty yarn, and this colour is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, I've made a couple of these now, so I think I need to pop a couple onto my Etsy as well, which I haven't done at the moment. I don't think these are on Etsy anyway. Right, I'm now trying to find where my yarn starts. Oh, I'm terrible for this. I've got a load of yarn I've got to re-ball up into proper balls as well at the moment. Ready for making my baby Yodas. So here we go. We're going to start like 99% of my crochet starts with a slip knot. Onto the hook. Remember, not too tight. We do need some movement. This is a cotton. It's a little less forgiving on stretch, so you have to be aware of that when you're crocheting. Yarn round as usual, and I'm going to start with my 2 chain. Into that first chain we're going to do 6 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Tighten up my slip knot. Now we're going to move on to trebles, so it moves quite quickly. If I can show it you on here, I started with just the double crochets, and then from then on it's all trebles until we get down here, so it's not that difficult. But that means, because we're going to go from double crochets to trebles, we can't really spiral it the same. So I'm actually going to do a slip stitch into that first double crochet, so we've got that beginning part, and I'm going to do 3 chain, the 3 chain being counted as your first treble. Now we will be doing 2 trebles into every single stitch. That's counted as the first one, so I'm just going to do a treble directly below it. You see just there, and that's counted as 2 trebles now. Now I should have 5 left. If you're not sure, check. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That's good, because we only need to go into 6 stitches, because otherwise it will alter your shape. So we're going 2 trebles into each of those double crochets. Should be giving us 12 stitches. You do have to think about that a little bit more. When we're spiraling with the amigurumi, you sort of get away with a few things. When you're having to, nearly dropping it, when you have to stop and start each round, you really do have to check your counting. Thankfully, trebles are quite easy to count because they're the posts rather than stitches. Well, they are stitches, but they're just more visible, aren't they? So 2 more in this one. I think that's the end. It is. Double check your counts. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12, which means we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first 3 chain you did, which counted as treble, remember. So slip stitch. So we've got our first little bit. We're going to do that again, where we're going to be doing 2 trebles in each one, because we want a few more stitches on there. So we have 3 chain, always counts as our first treble. It's quite obvious really where it goes. It always likes a little hole like that because you've done a slip stitch in there. So that is our 2 trebles in 1 stitch. We now should have 11 more of those to go. So fingers crossed we've counted right. Oh, got stuck. Counted right on the previous row, so that's usually a good sign. If you want to check every round, it might be worth it. Now if you're using a different type of yarn, an acrylic yarn or a pure wool yarn or whatever you're going to be using, like I said, this is a double knit, but if you're using acrylic it's going to feel quite a bit different, so you might want to experiment a little bit with your sizings too in that one. Yeah, so please be careful, because otherwise you can end up with a hat way too big. Now if you've got lots of other dolls, or small even, if you've got other dolls, that's sometimes not a problem. I know I recently made something for a Pippa doll and it was way too small, and I'm like, oh, you know, it's a bit of a waste. I've spent ages on this really fine yarn, but as it turned out I've got a tiny little doll. Shout out to Jason there for all you Dollycon people. You'll know what I'm on about. No one else will, but you will do if you go to Dollycon. So Jason now has a nice cute little pink tutu. No, it's pink, it's cream, it's a cream one. I have made him a pink one as well because it works so well. Amazing what you can get from one pattern sometimes. You think you're doing one thing and you turn out with something else, and sometimes that's a good thing because you get a different design. Right, we should have one more that looks promising. So 2 in that one. Shall we do a quick check on count? We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, which is exactly what we want. Slip stitch join again. As you can see, the actual whole part only comes a little bit lower, so let me double check. We got 24 there. We're going to do the same again, so we will end up with 48 stitches. 3 chain to start with counts as our first treble. Into that base, that's our first increase, so that's our 2 in 1, and 2 trebles in every single other one. I'm trying yet again a different angle on the actual filming and a slight different distance on the filming as well, because I think sometimes when it gets too close, as much as you want to see what I'm doing, it can blur. So this one, I want to remember, I've done on a I have no idea what the technical terms are, but I've done it so it's filming further away from my hands, so I'm not zooming in or anything. And also I've got the camera in a slightly different position, so I'm not knocking it. Doesn't mean I won't knock it, but it is a lot easier because I can sort of sit a little bit more comfortable. As much as the camera looks like it's on a slant to me, hopefully for you guys it'll just be nice and flat. Now I am only supposed to be doing one video today. I'm trying to make... I desperately want to do a second one because I've just had a little parcel come through with some dolly clothes by a lovely lady called Cheryl. She makes some gorgeous stuff. I've had a few things from her. There's a few Smartdoll things in there as well. And I'm like, I want to open them, but I was going to open them on video. So I don't know yet. Depends on how I feel after this one. This is going well. Like I say, it's just 2 trebles in every single treble. We should end up with our 48 stitches at the end. I'm hoping with this being cotton, it's a little clearer to see, because I think cotton does give more definition in your work. The only thing is, if it gives definition, it also means it sort of shows any imperfections as well. So you do have to be careful with the cotton. You need to make sure you don't split it. You need to keep your tension nice, because again it will show. I like it because, I mean, my tension's quite sort of steady anyway, so it's not really an issue, but I like it just because it looks neat, and I like to see the definition in my crochet. So it's definitely one of my favourite yarns, because they do it in a 4-ply as well, which is lovely. So if I'm doing a hat like this for a Smartdoll, I can get the equivalent, which I haven't yet done, but I have got the yarn for a smaller doll in the 4-ply, which is lovely, so they can have the same hats then. Right, we're almost there. I'd say one more stitch, as you can see, because it's quite obvious, whereas if that was an acrylic we might be umming and ahhing a little bit. In we go. So we now have our 48 stitches. Most of my Smartdoll hats come to about a maximum of about 48, depending on the style. That might slightly vary, but usually 48 is a common number for me to go up to. So slip stitch. So we have, it's like the crown of the head, and usually when you're at that point it means you can start going just straight. Now our first straight round is just trebles. So you're going to have 1 treble in every single stitch, but obviously we have to start with 3 chain, which counts as our first treble. Now we're not going into that base now, so be careful where you're going. It's just over here where my thumbnail is. So yarn around the hook, in we go, and off we go. So it's just 1 treble in every single treble. I would say fast forward, but I don't really think there's much point on this, because the next round is going to start forming a small pattern. So we do need to sort of keep an eye on what I'm doing there. Or you could just pause it. You work at your speed. And don't forget, you can slow me down or speed me up even on the settings on your, well, I know on the computer it's really easy to find. It is on the phone, but you do have to sort of search for it a little bit. So it depends what system you're using as far as speeding up and slowing down is concerned. I have noticed most people do actually, well, the majority of people use their phones to watch my videos. I'm a bit of both. I do actually prefer desktop if I'm doing other people's things or if I'm looking at YouTube. This pink, I think, is showing up quite nicely as well on the camera. So just an absolutely gorgeous colour. Then did I do the bag in the pink? I think I did when I did the Smartdoll bag design. That was in a pink. Yes, it was, because I actually put the bag on Gaia because it matched this hat. So that's a good hat to do. So if you've not looked at that tutorial, there's the bag tutorial, which is made in the same yarn. So if you did buy a ball of wool, you could get a couple of things out of it. You can get quite a lot actually out of a 100-gram ball. Obviously Smartdoll hats take a lot more than the others. Not got many more to do. We're almost there. When you rush, you always go wrong. We're actually sort of almost halfway there. There isn't that much to this hat. You might want to try it on your doll every now and again, depending on your tension. If you think it's starting to look a little bit loose, you could perhaps decrease a stitch. You can actually add in as well. It's quite easy if you just do an extra stitch. Right, slip stitch into the top and pull through. So you can see it's already starting to curl round, which is what we want there. Pull that nice and tight. Right, so we're going to start with our pattern. It is simple enough. Of course, we have to start with 3 chain. Counts as your first treble. Now in each of these stitches, well, each of the stitches, in the stitches I tell you to do, you're going to be doing a treble and a chain and missing one in between. I'll explain that better when I do it, but I just wanted to explain it just for this little bit, because that 3 is your treble, but then I want to do a chain, which is the chain between the trebles. Okay, so it's actually 4 stitches, but I've just broke it down into 2. So we're going to miss one, so we're not going to go in that one, we're going to go in the next one. So yarn round, in, pull through. Okay, chain. So there's always a chain after that treble. We miss this one and we're into this one. Chain, miss a stitch, into the next one. Chain, miss one, treble next one. Chain. Don't forget that chain, because the chain is going to be where your next stitches on your next round's going to go, so you do need to know where it is. So miss one and treble, chain, miss one, treble, chain. So if you sort of say to yourself treble chain all the way around, it sort of like gets it in sort of in that little pattern for you. So I'm going to speed up a little bit because we're doing exactly the same all the way around. Treble chain, miss one, treble chain, miss one, this one. I mean, you'll know if you're missing them, because otherwise they'll be close together here, which you don't want. You want these little holes that I have created here. Now the thing is, did I do a chain there? Because I'm not sure, best way to do it is take it out. I had actually done the chain because the stitch is there, but always check because it will make it difficult for your next round. So miss one and treble, chain, miss one, treble and chain. Again, you can either pause me or just sort of slow it down or fast forward it at this point and see where I'm going. Because until we get to that last bit, they're all trebles. Be careful because that looks like that's the miss one, doesn't it? And it's not, it's this one here. So it's over there. Just depends on how you're holding your yarn sometimes. Sort of if you're stretching your crochet to one side. So we miss one, treble chain, miss one, treble chain. Doesn't run very well, this yarn either. Not when it's in this shape. It's a ball, it runs too well. It also can be a little bit rough on your hands of cotton, but I do think it's worth it. Oh, look, can you see how it's going to split? Now, if I continued with that, I'm going to take it out. You can actually see, let me grab a needle. If I'd have carried on with the stitch, can you see how it's separated there? Now, if I'd have carried on with that, that would have stuck out and it would have driven me absolutely mad. So I'm hoping it's not going to show too much. If I was making this for somebody and I'd seen that, I would have probably took the full round out and done it again. Now I've got to be careful not to catch it. There, I think I've managed it. Yeah, that's okay. Last one. Don't forget the chain. And yes, we're going to be doing a slip stitch into the top. Now remember we did 4 chain there, so you've got to be careful where this slip stitch goes because it's in the top of the 3, not in the top of the 4. So you can see you've got your shape. So you should have those little holes all the way around. Now we're going to be doing more trebles. I'm just checking what I've put. Yep, I've got it. So we're going to start with 3 chain. Because each round starts with 3 chain. We're going to do a treble into that space. This is why I said this chain was important. So into the space, a treble. Into the top of the next post. This is your post, the line, and you can see quite clearly because it's a cotton where the hole is. So in there, in the space. So it's a treble in space and in the top of the treble. Space, top of the treble. All the way around. So it's just filling it in this time round. No chain, remember. It's very easy because I had to think then. That's why I said it, because I'd paused slightly myself thinking, did I do a chain? No chains in this one apart from the 3 you begin with. No chains at all. It's just all trebles. 1 in the space, 1 in the top of the treble. All the way around. 1 in the space, 1 in the top of the treble. Can you see? So we're filling in the gaps basically. All trebles. Trebles make it quicker as well. Obviously if we were doing this as a double crochet hat, it would be taking a lot longer now. Would probably only be about here, but obviously this is a longer stitch, so it's nice and quick, which sometimes you need. And apart from the fact it gives more of a lacy effect, which I think is quite nice for the type of hat it is. I've just done this hat for a larger doll. I've just done it for my gorgeous doll, which I don't know whether you've seen her this week, the one that was a present from my son from Christmas. I've just made her one like this. I've done a cream one, but I've put a big sort of, can't think of the word, I'd call it burgundy, plum, I'm not sure what you'd call it, a pinky sort of dark pinky colour, as a big flower on the front. I've got to sew a bead in yet, but that looks really quite cute on her. I don't think it needs it for the Smartdoll, not this particular style. Sometimes the plainer things can look a little bit nicer on the Smartdoll. We're almost round again. There's only a couple more rounds to go. And then there'll be 3 rounds of double crochet at the end. Now we're going to be repeating this pattern. So these 2 that we've just done, the one with the holes and the one that fills the holes in, is the pattern. So that is the 2 round pattern. Now watch this bit at the end, because you sort of want to jump. There is still a space here into the space as well. Slip stitch join, because you don't want a gap on this one. Now we're going to, oh, can you see what have I done there? I'm trying to grab that and it should be that. So 3 chain again, because we're starting a round. Now we're wanting to replicate these holes. So that is the 3 chain count, but then another chain is for the space, yeah? Remember what we did on the previous one. We miss a stitch. So we're missing this guy and into this one. Chain. So remember, this one's treble chain. Miss one, next one. Treble chain. Miss one, next one. Treble chain. Miss one, next one. Treble chain. And we're going to do that all the way around, making sure you're missing that stitch. Like I said before, you'll know you've not missed it because you'll have 2 stitches side by side, which is what we're not doing on this round. We're trying to create the little holes. So round we go, make sure we're missing, make sure you put your chain in, and it'll all be easy. This one. This one. Nearly forgot my chain. I'm alright telling you not to forget, but it's just so easy, especially sometimes if you're working on autopilot. I'm a little bit tired this morning because I've been up since 5, and it sort of hits me sometimes early afternoon if I've done that, and I have literally fallen asleep while crocheting before now. I nearly fell off my chair in my craft room one day. It was unbelievable, because I think if you're doing lots of the same stitches, sometimes it gets sort of a little bit repetitive and sort of your eyes are staring at it, and then eventually you just go. Right, so I nearly did forget the chain, but I didn't. I'm probably keeping awake by talking to you guys. Nearly there. Remember, miss one. Yeah, that's the last one. Don't forget the chain on the last one. Very easy to forget. Now remember, the second row for this pattern is where we're filling spaces in. So we do our slip stitch, we do our 3 chain, and our first one's into a space. Yeah, so treble, top of treble, treble in the space. Now, as I say in the space, I am literally going into the hole. I'm not picking a stitch up, I'm going right into the hole. I think it neatens it. I think if you're not careful, if you go into the stitch, you can split it and then it looks messy, and you don't want that either. Nearly there. Or not. How come every time I say that I go wrong? I've got to stop saying nearly there, or oh, we've about done it, because every time I do that I actually go wrong. Hope to see some pictures of these on Facebook. It's been so nice when I made a hat and somebody sort of either put it on Instagram or on Facebook, or they've tagged me. I don't know, it's just really nice to see that people have made what you've designed for them and that they're enjoying it, and the dolls look amazing. And some of you have picked some fab colours for some of them and different yarns, and yeah, there's been some really nice work. Dare I say the word? Are we nearly there? I don't know. Am I nearly there? Perhaps I'm not. I'll pretend I'm not, then I won't go wrong. This wool is jumping about like mad. Stay over there. This yarn's great for the peaked caps I make as well, because it's a little bit stiff. It sort of holds its shape, which is really nice. Whereas you couldn't really do that in an acrylic. I don't think it would hold itself properly. I am nearly there now, look, I am. I am nearly there now, look, I am. 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 I And my glasses are sliding down my nose. I think I'm going to have to take them back. I keep saying that, but I don't get it done. It's always one of the jobs on the list that never ends. I thought they were okay when they fitted them for me, but I know you may have noticed on one of my videos, I keep pushing them up because they just keep sliding. This is going towards the end of my nose. It's not going to fall off, but it is sat on the end of my nose at the moment. So I'm going to move it up when we get to this bit. Right, slip stitch. So basically, as I say, those 2 rows formed our pattern and we've just repeated them twice. That is it. All we've got to do now is our double crochet rounds and we finished. Now, I'm not going to put my stitch marker in first round because I can see that these are trebles and not double crochets, but let's go for it. Just amigurumi style now, no stopping and starting. So I'm going to speed up with this one. Just 1 double crochet into every single treble, and there are 3 rounds of it. So if you just want to stop or fast forward till I get to that end bit, and then I'll show you that, and we'll double check that it actually does fit Gaia. It's up to you. Or if you think I'm going a little bit too fast, just pause it and just tell yourself that you're going round 3 times. I think doing the double crochets here, I mean, you don't have to, you could have left it at just trebles or maybe just 1 more round of treble, but I think by doing a double crochet it neatens it, just gives it an edge, sort of a bit of a sort of well, brim's the wrong word, but the bottom of the hat anyway. Imagine if there was a rib or something like that. I think these rounds are obviously going to feel like they're taking longer because all of a sudden they're shorter. You could actually carry on. I mean, I said 3. The 3 fits are how I've demonstrated. You could actually take it longer and then maybe do a little roll bottom so it turns back on itself. That'd be quite a nice alteration to the pattern as well. All right, last stitch is always hard because it's weighted, that's a slip stitch. All right, in we go. I'm going to pop the stitch marker in because if I'm talking I'm going to lose track where I am. There we go. My little tiny jug. Look at that, so cute. Right, off we go. Last 2 rounds. I can't see the time. I think it's only 20 something. We're doing well. It's quite good if I can get my video in under, for some reason, 33 minutes. I don't know why 33 minutes. Then the camera doesn't break it up into more than 1 piece. And if it breaks it up into 1 piece, obviously then there's a lot of sort of popping it together with editing and making sure it all fits and things like that. And I think it does slightly affect its quality as well, because obviously I'm only working off my phone. I'm not working off a posh camera or anything. I will get to one day. I am one up actually. We've got I mean, you'll probably know it, the shop if you're in the UK. I don't know whether it's anywhere else. CEX, they're like second hand, you know, people have traded in cameras and things like that and video games, but they had some nice cameras the other day. But it just blows my mind. I don't know what I'm buying. That is the problem. I just stare at them and then I'm like, oh, well, if I buy it and then it doesn't work. I ask people, I've asked a few people for help, sort of, I haven't got a clue what they're talking about, so it doesn't gain me anything, unfortunately, because it's just really not an area I have any knowledge in. My camera has been doing exceptionally well. I'm very pleased with it, but there is going to come a time, although I have said to my son, he's just got the new, I mean, this is just Samsung Galaxy. Somebody asked me what it was a while back, and I think I said the wrong thing. I think it's a J5. It's only, like I say, a basic really for Samsungs, but my son's just got a newer one. It is still Samsung because I do like Android. My wool's now dropped on the floor. That was really useful last round. But considering the type of phone it is, I think it's quite good. I think it videos quite nicely. Like I say, a few issues, but I don't know if that's me or the camera. That's just me learning, I think. Steep learning curve. So we're in our last round now. So you can see it sort of just gives it a nicer edge, just sort of as if it finishes it off. So just one double crochet all the way around. I don't generally do a slip stitch round, which some people do to finish off, which can make it look neat, but you lose your stretch. The only time I'll do a slip stitch round is if there is a brim, and I will sometimes pop a slip stitch round in a brim, because it does finish it off nicely if you can do a slip stitch, but I don't know, I think it just makes it harder to put on and makes it a little bit tight. And I think with the cotton anyway, it sort of looks so neat. I mean, that's a lovely neat edge. I don't think there's any need to be messing about with it. And I'm going to say the dreaded words. I'm nearly there. It's not going to go wrong. Because as you know, I like to sort of make my crochet a little bit warts and all. I won't edit it. I will do it as I do it. If it goes wrong, we'll alter it and I'll show you how we're altering it. I'm hoping that helps. Right, the last stitch I am going to do is a slip stitch though. Just because it sort of flattens it, because otherwise it comes along and it dips, and you don't want that. If you do a slip stitch, it does stop that a little bit. Right, snip my yarn off, tighten it up and take out the little stitch marker. Now obviously I've only got two ends to sew in. I've got this one here and this one, nothing major, so I don't need to worry about them for now, just to try it on Gaia. So I'm just going to push them there. Over misses. She's already got a pink one. I've got 4 of these pink ones now, so I'm gonna have to pop them on Etsy. Still not sorted these shoulders out, I'm afraid. I know some of you have given me some advice, and some have said about pushing it really tight together. It's not going anywhere. Either I'm too sort of weak pushing it, but then I'm frightened of breaking it, so she's gonna have to come apart when I've got the time to sort of check these shoulder joints. If not, then I'm gonna obviously have to contact manufacturers. So let's see. I know it should fit because I made the others and they all fit. Ta-da! So we have a cute little beanie. I think the pink looks gorgeous against her skin tone as well. I think it works really nice. Although saying that, Shitozi is really, really pale, and I think pink looks fabulous on her. I like pink and blue. Now that is why I've got these. That's Shitozi's, that's Mirai's, because she tends to sort of suit those sort of colourings. And I think Gaia looks fabulous in pink, but she looks great in other colours as well. But thank you for watching. I hope, as I said, to see some of these little hats done. Please leave me a comment. It is nice to see it, or if you've got any other suggestions, because this was a suggestion by somebody, so it was nice to sort of hear from them. So just give me a shout if you do want to say something. Share and click on your notification bell, and you can get to see the other items that I do during the time. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.